de nuestro país. Vengan, escuchen todas las historias, historias de amor, love, aventuras, adventures, and all the bad things and good things that happen to the people of our place. Well, good afternoon, everybody. As you know, as all of you know, most, if you don't, I'm the one. I'm Michael Rael and Claire Wyman. We're the staff doing this thing here. We want to thank the Cuesta Library for allowing us to do this. And they're passing around this little pamphlets, what we have going on. Next month, the 15th, we have Kenny Lacombe, who is disabled, but a champion skier that he was. And Daniel Lamb from Red River will be here, and he's got quite a story to tell. And on the 22nd, we're going to go to the Cerro Vista farm and do it live over there, so that the people can see what they do. And then on the 12th of September, we have Bobby and Dwayne Ortega. Bobby Ortega loves to talk a lot, so I have Dwayne coming in to do the music so we can stop Bobby for a while. Right. Yeah. I told Bobby, you're like me, can't shut you up. So today we're really fortunate. We have the León Brothers, the León Brothers of Cerro. Jose and Ricky. And this guy's, I've known him, que bárbaro, for all our lives. We've known each other, and it's a privilege to have you guys here today. Thank you for taking time for us. We appreciate it. So let's start with whoever wants to start talking about your growing up, your family, your mom, dad, all that stuff. I guess you're the oldest,
Yep.
so we'll let you start.
Okay, I go by Joseph Leon now. Growing up, I was Dickie. I thought that was my name until I got a job. So I got a job, and my dad's name was Richard, so I signed Richard. I didn't get a check. My dad was getting the checks and putting them in the bank. So finally I went and asked Mom, what's my name? She says, your name is Joseph. Joseph Richard. My baptismo, my birth certificate says Jose Ricardo Leon. My baptismo says Joseph Richard Leon. So Joanna.
Social Security?
Huh?
Social Security, what does it say?
No, I got corrected. It says Joseph Richard. But Joanne says I'm married to 3 guys, Dickie, Richard, and Joseph.
Yeah.
No wonder she's so
Joseph
happy.
and Dickie. Richard, Joseph, and Dickie.
Yeah. So that's my story.
That's your start.
Well, I could go
You're
on
stuck
and
with
on.
it.
Well, okay.
Nah. Okay, we're 5 years apart, and we have a younger brother who's 5 years younger than I am. My older brother here always had me in trouble. I gotta be truthful, guys. I was always in trouble with my older brother. He would go, and in high school days or anything like that, he would date some girls and use my name in different places. I would show up, and they would say, well, what are you doing in Colorado? I couldn't be in Colorado. I'm over here in Taos. But that was my older brother. But you know what? We've been blessed in all ways. The knowledge that he knows, or my younger brother, the knowledge that he knows, and what our parents have taught us is to just love one another. We respect each other. We do argue, which it's sometimes nice. we get in there and we decide to do stuff together. And I'm happily married. A lot of you know my wife, Rachel Leon. She's doing the mariachi music. In fact, the first thing she turned around and told me, act right. Because I know you, she said. I said, I'll let my brother do everything. He's older, he can take the blame. I have 2 beautiful kids. My son works for the Forest Service. You guys probably know Ricardo. And my daughter is a nurse in Albuquerque. That one, I don't get to see as much, but you know what? She's a daddy's girl. She calls me every morning. Every morning we talk, which is nice. My son, he lives right across from me. If I see him once a week, it's a blessing. And that's about it, guys. Now, unless you have any questions for me, you want to know what I'm doing in Cerro? What
No, we're not, just be careful here.
Let me handle this one, Mike.
Yeah, no. Why don't you tell us a little bit about growing up?
Well, there's 5 years apart, and I have memory probably when I was 4 years old playing with a little plastic truck. But anyway, when he was going to be born, my grandpa had a little store next door. You know, old stores with a potbelly stove. And so they sent me with Grandpa. I was there all day. Mom gave birth at home. So the girls came home from school, and there was Ricky in a box. Probably a wine box with blankets.
No wonder he's a wino.
So later on, I wanted to name him Ricky Nelson, Elvis Presley, you know. So he did end up Ricky. But at my grandpa's little general store, and I have remember Rocky. Everybody knows Rocky. He was brought up with his grandparents. You know, Rocky, crew cut, little hefty. His grandpa would go to the grocery store, and the first thing he would do, his grandpa would grab my grandpa like that. I'm going to hit him till I started crying. Then they would give Rocky and I those little plastic whistles to shut up, and then we'd go play, you know. It was a done deal, so that was a good memory I have growing up.
Yeah.
Other than the farm, you know, Mom and Dad had cattle, pigs, chickens, horses. We grew up on horses. One thing I wish I'd never see again is that damn shag carpet.
Oh, yeah.
Orange.
Ooh.
We had to rake it. I hope I never see that again. I'm sure everybody knew about that old. Yeah. But other than that, I started working with the Forest Service here straight out of high school. I worked at BLM when they were putting the water line in. I don't know what year that was, like in, maybe late 60s. That's when I found out my real name. That's my name.
You need to get your check.
You started getting your own checks.
Yeah, I started to get my own
And
check
you were born what year?
in 56.
Oh, okay, that's not too long.
Yeah, and it was funny, I was telling Michael earlier, I spoke with an elderly gentleman here yesterday. I asked him, have you ever seen it this dry? He said, in 1957, we went through the same conditions. But anyway, Tim brought something up when we were talking. He said he was having trouble getting paid. When I started with the Forest Service here, somehow or another, my payroll paperwork went to another gentleman. I wasn't getting a check. I think I went like 3 paychecks didn't come through. Back then you could smoke in the government building. So I went to the counter, there was an ashtray there. I asked them about my check. I said, well, they're working on it. Got the ashtray and I threw it through a window, busted the window out. You're gonna have to pay for that window. Take it out of my check. That's what you gotta do. You gotta take your own ashtray now, though.
Yeah, they don't have them anymore.
I'll take a brick.
Yeah.
See, I told you. He was the worst one.
But in a way, another story I like telling, this one is Mom and Dad had the little grocery store. Ricky was probably too small. I was probably 9 years old. The road, the Wild River, was just a dirt road. And there was visitors all summer long. During monsoon season, they would get stuck there. And there was 2 little dips that people always got stuck. So Dad would tell me, start the tractor and go get them. And I remember the tractor very well. One headlight didn't work, the other one was pointing down, and it would go turn. I don't know why they didn't give us a trash bag to put over us because it was raining. But anyway, so I'd go pull out the furthest ones, maybe 5, 6 cars, pull them out, and $2, $3, some of them would give it more. Some of them wouldn't even pay me. So when they got to the last dip before they left, the ones who paid me were the first ones to get pulled out. The ones that didn't pay me, I would act like I wasn't going to pull them out, and they paid the best.
You didn't have to wait for a check that way.
No, I never told Dad I was making some good money, but
Well, he probably knew.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, you want to know what I did as a
Yeah,
kid?
during that time, yeah. Yeah,
It was a rough childhood. You know, you had to follow an older brother's footsteps. Wasn't easy. But I'll tell you what, when you're young and they turn around and tell you, I got a BB gun, we're going to go have fun. And I looked at him and I said, okay, what are we going to do? Well, my parents had the bar. There was a lady that lived across the street. And she used to like to bend over and show her bloomers, right? He dared me. Boom! I got a whipping. But it was worth it. It was worth it. You know, we'd done some crazy stuff when we were small. There was one time that he was helping me break a horse in. And we were riding, I was on one horse and we were breaking in, he was on the other horse, and the cinch broke. That's my fondest memory of him, because we were running down the field full blast.
What's a cinch?
Holds the saddle in.
Oh, okay.
It broke. He looked like in the cartoons, because when it broke, the horse did a turn. All I could see was his cowboy boots bouncing in the dirt. He was going like that in the saddle. So he gets up and he looks at me, he says, you break in your own horse from here on out. But we were brought up, you know, big gardens. We used to work a lot of gardens. I can see why they had big families. They needed all the help they could get because we had big gardens. One of my fondest memories is my mom turns around and she had all of us kids lined up on top of a corral fence. We were supposed to be chucking the corn and the peas, right? We would get the husks and throw it to the pigs that we had, because we were running probably about 50 pigs. We had 50 hogs. Back then we had probably about, 90 sheep? 80
Something
sheep?
like that, yeah.
So we were busy. We used to have to haul grain and everything. The funny part about it is my mom turned around and told all of us, don't drop any of that corn where the pigs are. What happened? I dropped it. She made me jump in. So when I jumped in, I landed on a pig facing backwards. It had me running in the corral facing backwards. And my mom didn't even worry about me, because I asked her, I says, were you worried that the pig would have got me? She says, no, I was worried about that corn. I said, okay. Priorities. I understood what she needed, what she wanted, and we would do it. But, you know, being brought up with everything that they made us do, it made us a better person. It made us realize how hard it is to survive, what's work, what's not. I got the opportunity to coach high school baseball with my son, and I got to be there while my grandson was playing. And I would look at all the kids and I would turn around and tell them, you guys have to have common sense. They would look at me, come the next day I come in and I looked at all those kids, I says, you guys have to have common science. It's science. If a ball hits a rock, it's going to have a tendency to bounce, be expecting it. Well, which way do you think it's going to go? And I'd look at those kids, common science, go look at the rock that it hit. See which way it's facing. You know, what I'm seeing nowadays with kids, I wish the parents would do a lot more with them.
Yeah.
More attention. Why does the grandparents have to do it?
And the great-grandparents.
And the great-grandparents. But it was a blessing. I got to see some kids that had never played baseball, and we made them into baseball players. One parent would walk into the games with a stack of pizzas that she'd brought from Taos. Here we are about to win a game, and she comes into the dugout with pizzas. And I would look at her, and I would look at her, and she would say, well, the kids are hungry. Yeah, sure, they were hungry, but we're about to win a game. Help us out. So our last game that we had in Peñasco, what did this parent do? She came from Espanola with Baskin Robbins. We all, even the umpire sat down with us and ate ice cream. We called the timeout and we had ice cream all together that way it wouldn't melt.
Great deal, yeah.
But, you know, those are things that we get to see. When we were brought up, we used to play a lot of baseball, Little League. And a lot of you guys know probably Pifi Aguilar. Yeah. And if the ones that don't know Pifi, he's the one that will take you 4 miles, 5 miles an hour through town once in a while. That's Pifi. He changes trucks. He was our baseball coach. And we used to have one of our neighbors that would turn around and come by. And I don't know if you've seen when a pig opens up the dirt to lay down and they make it fresh. We'd be playing some nice baseball in Little League, and all of a sudden he would disappear on us. We would look for him, and he had already made a hole into the ground. He would lay down. So it was always a natural thing. His house was right across the baseball field. All of a sudden we could be playing, he would disappear.
He'd leave his glove there, though.
He would leave his glove, but he would go over there and he would eat, bring a sandwich, and come back and play. But we were brought up with, my dad played a lot of baseball. They would go and they would ask my dad to go play in different places. And he would go to Petaca all over the place. And
San Luis del Rito.
that's how come we loved baseball.
Well, there was one time when Cuesta and Cerro had these baseball teams of adults that were massive. I remember as a kid going, watching them play, and it was amazing to watch them play because they were, you know, Nick Cisneros was offered a contract by the New York Yankees for $3,000 signing bonus, but he didn't go because they didn't want to take his catcher, Alfidio. And Alfidio, his hand, there was no straight fingers because he was the catcher, and those mitts were like, the cloth, and he had broken several times. Yeah, I remember watching those people play.
We had Coach Horsey Onario. He was a coach there. We had a real strong fast pitch. So we played all over San Luis and Peñasco, and you know, we grew up in the farm. We had a lot of shores, and that's the only thing I remember Dad letting us do is play baseball. We didn't join the ski club. You know, they had the ski club. I didn't learn how to ski until I started working with the Forest Service. You know what skiing was us? We'd go find 2 pairs of skis at the dump, tie some old cowboy boots with nails, and have the horse pull us.
That was our scheme. We'd fly even behind a truck, you know, if we had the choice.
I think one year we put an old hood of a truck, and we'd get in the hood and the horse would pull. Then the horse stopped and the hood hit the horse and almost hurt the horse, and that was the end of that. We couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, our step-grandmother lived next to where we were at, and we were the type that we were always up to something as kids. So we stole her rocking chair. We even cut some 2x4s and wedged them real nice for the winter to pull with the horse, right? We had fun for about 4 hours till we hit a box spring that was frozen on the ground. We demolished her rocking chair. You know what? We got a whipping, but it was worth it. It was worth it. You never have regrets for what you do.
Were you both born and raised here?
Oh yeah, I was born at home.
Yeah.
I don't know where he was born.
I was born at home too. I have and my wife could agree with this. We were, during Christmas, I told her, let's go see the Christmas lights through Cerro. And they were pretty. And you're not going to believe this, but past the cattle guard, there was 2 little pigs going in like the wild rivers, 2 coyotes following it, and 2 dogs. I didn't say anything. We turned around where you go to the transfer station. I told her, what did you see? She saw the same thing.
Did they have a sleigh?
I don't think we had been drinking. But that was,
Friends hanging out?
huh?
They're puppy friends hanging out?
It was really something.
And you both saw it,
We both saw it. I thought it was just me, but she saw it too.
and no sleigh.
No.
You never know.
Yeah.
And you'll never know what you see. And I'm going to be truthful because there's a few people say that they've seen Bigfoot down at the Rio Grande.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tim's ever seen it, but I've gone looking for it. I haven't seen it.
I've heard there's brujas or witchcraft.
No, they say that there's some that turn into owls. In my younger days, I killed owls all over the place. They're still alive. Some of those people are still alive. So it's not true.
But
You know,
now,
they would say that some of the witches would be flying, and all of a sudden they hit a telephone pole.
It would
The
spin.
electric cord that they stole from the mine. But that was only so.
It was the dumb guy that they put for the poles.
Oh my goodness.
when
No,
I-
you know, we used to hear stories. They would turn around and what year was it that they would do the abuelitos?
right after, between Christmas and the New Year.
They
What
used
is that? Abuelito?
abuelitos. I don't know. All I remember is they would chase you all the way into the house. You could hide underneath the bed. They would drag you out of the bed and whip you.
They would make a bonfire, and somebody would come in a mask, most likely an elder with a belt, and I don't know what the saying was, reza to whip your son. Anyway, you had to pray. If you prayed, they wouldn't whip you, but if you didn't, you had to run, because he was going to whip you.
You had to run fast.
They wouldn't
Pesa, reza, o pesa, pesa.
something.
Something
But
like
you know, he said something about Bigfoot. Anyway, when Penn Soil, I believe, gave the 100,000 acres to the Forest Service,
Yeah.
which is Valle Vidal, I was working with the Forest Service, so the first year, all the staff from the office in Taos would come in. They were inventorying the roads and this and that. They would come in on Monday. I would go in on Thursday because all the staff would leave on Thursday evening, and I was the only one in Valle Vidal. I don't know if anybody has been up to Cherie Lodge, but anyway, they had a generator. We had to start the generator and turn it off at night. But the lodge, all the rooms were upstairs. They had a stairway on one end, a stairway on the other end. I'd take my dog up there. I was the only one up there. My dog would sleep at the bottom of the stairway by the screen door. Old buildings, you know, you open the screen door, you hear it squeak. The staircase, I could hear boots going up. I could hear footsteps go all the way down and down the other way. My dog never barked, but the first times that I was there, I slept with a gun. I said, if something comes through that door, I'm just going to open fire. So there is a ghost.
Yeah.
There is a ghost there. And I went through that. It was a friendly ghost, but
Thank goodness.
and another thing, you probably know the old man Eloy Rael.
Oh yeah.
He kept telling me, Joseph, take me up there, take me up there.
Pistolitas.
No, he lived down the
Oh,
road.
the other one.
Yeah. Anyway, I told him it's going to be a long day. Let's go up there. And I want to go to the east side. So the story he told me that he and his parents or his dad were going on a covered wagon, and 2 families were feuding, and they had killed a guy. He goes, and we were there. He goes, they dug a hole, they got a wagon wheel, and that's the grave marker. And man, we found it. Manoloy, I don't know, he was probably 82 or something. He was a senior citizen program with the Forest Service. I was really impressed with that gentleman. We found the wagon wheel, and we told the Forest Service archaeologists about it. I don't know if they ever documented it or that, but.
Wow.
But anyway, getting back to Bigfoot, from Cherie's Lodge, there was a lakes. So I was up there with my dog one day, and all of it. When you grab a little pig by the leg, it squeals, and it might squeal for 30 seconds or something like that. We were up there, and the whole valley filled up with that squeal. My hair stood up like that. My dog went in circles. His ears were, I've heard fox, I've heard coyotes, I've heard mountain lions, but that scared me.
Yeah.
So you,
Where's that at, that lodge?
Valle Vidal.
Valle Vidal, from Amalia up.
Oh, okay.
So have you guys ever talked to Rocky, and Rocky turns on and tells you that him and Anita have seen Bigfoot at the Rio Grande? It's gotta be.
Ernie Romero told this one before. They were hunting La Utah, 3 of them, and they split up. And when the other 2 came back, he was sitting on the back of the truck, white, and it took 2 weeks. He had come up face to face with Sasquatch up there.
Oh, well, what's his name that has his cabin up there above Midnight Meadows? Benny.
Yeah.
He always claims he's seen Bigfoot at the foot of his cabin.
When I was there at Valle Vidal as security, the RCC of A has the El Pozo, where they have their water. They had a Native American man there and his partner. I don't remember if she was a white lady or anyway. I was their bootlegger. So I'd come out before I was going to leave. They'd give me money. So I'd come home for my 2-3 days off or 4 days off, buy him a 5th of whiskey, go back into Valle Vidal and take him his 5th of whiskey. But anyway, he had made Bigfoot prints, and he'd go all along Comanche Creek and stamp on it. It was crazy.
Proof that Bigfoot existed.
You know, for the ones that don't know us, besides the shag carpet, the duties in the morning, we used to have to go clean the bar. Our parents had a bar, so we had to go clean the bar. You would see all kinds of stuff in that bar. There's sometimes we'd keep somebody locked in over the night that we didn't see him. He'd wake up in the morning there, or
This is in Cerro?
Huh?
In Cerro?
Yeah. You know where Tia's restaurant?
Uh-huh.
That used to be our building. That was our bar. Yeah.
Back when the mine was in full swing, there was, I think, 6 bars here in the community.
So we were bartenders at an early age. I was a bartender at probably 13, 12 years old.
What year did your grandparents have the store?
How far does it date back?
Yeah.
Well, what I know of, I wasn't even born, and my grandfather had the old store.
I think that picture that's on there, it was my great-grandpa, Epimenio de León.
Yeah.
And then
had
he
that?
gave it to Jose de León. And then my dad took it over. And I don't know why my dad dropped the de.
Was it during the service? When he went to the Navy, they took "de" away from that.
That store was there from the early 30s.
Oh
I
yeah.
could read, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, that
building?
picture,
The one next door.
Yeah.
That's
The
fallen.
smaller building.
Yeah.
Right. That was the original.
Yeah.
So what was your father's name?
Richard,
And his father's name was?
Jose de León.
Jose de Leon.
And the other one was Epimenio de León.
yeah.
And
Epimenio de Leon was your grandpa's father?
yes.
Okay.
And his dad was named Nicolás Antonio de León. He came from Spain.
And you guys, who dropped the dead?
My dad dropped the day, and I don't know.
It was during the time of the Navy. He had said.
Oh, okay.
My mom always said the story that during the Navy, when he went into the Navy, they dropped the "de."
Okay.
Okay, yeah, because they just here.
So who has the store now?
It's closed.
Da-
Tia's restaurant.
David Cisneros owns a building, and he's renting it out to Tias.
But what about the one with all the glass in the front?
That's David's. Tia is where the restaurant's at.
Yeah, but there's the other building.
The one going towards the river.
No, well, no.
Oh.
The restaurant?
Across from the VFW, that belongs to Ivan Segura.
And then you gotta remember that Virgil Martinez and Amos Martinez dad had a store
Yeah.
right there too. There, in fact, we were talking about it the other day. If you pass through Espanola, you'll see one of those little buses that's a tiny little bus round. That's the kind of buses that they would take us to school right there to Cerro. They'd pick us up and run us to the little school. Like for me, I went to school, I think, till 3rd grade in Cerro. And then they moved us to Cuesta.
I don't believe Corinne talked about going to school there in Cerro. Did she mention it?
No.
Anyway, we went to school. They had the gym next door. They had basketball games. We had Christmas programs. But we had a wood shed and we had a coal shed. We had to bring wood in. We had outside toilets. We did have a cafeteria that was good. The building now, the community center, they put some of these tiles over, but they were the vigas. We would make paper airplanes and stick them on there, and then they would make us take them down.
Is that the community center on the corner?
Correct. Correct. Right. Abregadero. Yeah.
Joseph, how many years did you go to Cerro in school?
I think I went in Cerro till about the 6th grade. Then they moved us to Cuesta. I just remember going to Cuesta, and then of course we had to fight all the guys in Cuesta. Yeah. But it was okay.
Yeah, it was
You
part
know,
of life.
one of the memories I have of the little Cerro school, because we were brought up that we would have to go fill up sacks of grain for people, because we had grain. They would show up, we had to go fill up sacks and everything. We always carried a knife. We always had a pocket knife. My little knife was about this big. And I got lazy. I was in school. And instead of going to the sharpener, I pulled out my knife, sharpening my pencil. They took me to the principal, Mr. Segura. First thing he did is he took my knife away. He sat me in the trash can, then he sat on me. That didn't hurt because I was skinny. I fell into the trash can real nice. That didn't bother me. What hurt me the most, he kept my knife. If I was to see that man, he's passed away, I would ask him, where's my knife?
We would get the Board of Education back then. I don't know if you knew about the Board of Education.
Tell us.
It's a board. It has holes and how many do you want?
I had those in my junior high school.
Yeah.
And you know what? That wasn't the fear of them hitting you. It's when you got home.
Yeah, you were gonna
That's when you knew you were in trouble.
get it twice.
I remember Mr. Roberto Segura. He was my 8th grade teacher too. And then we had Sandra Smith was our classmate, no? And then one time he got mad at her, and she turned around and told him, "Y tú, cochino marrano." I remember that. That he was a pig. Cochino and then marrano is kind of like the same word for pig. Tú, cochino marrano.
You know, now that she's saying those Spanish words, pig, cochino, marrano, sucio, the puerco, the whole works. Okay. One of our good friends, his name was Ted Santisteban. He passed away, but he would get together with us. What happened is he was supposed to be playing at a basketball tournament in Costilla. My brother was. He couldn't make it because he was going on his honeymoon. So I had to go in his place, right? I had to go play for where he was playing. Well, they just happened to have a raffle for a half a gallon of whiskey, Sigum 7. Then they had another raffle for some little pillows, nice little pillows. So I turned around and I says, you know what, I'm going to buy a raffle and I'll buy Ted the ones for the pillows. We won them all. We won the pillows, we won the half a gallon Sigum 7. From there, we decided to leave the game. But during the game, we had a guy named Virgil Martinez. He forgot to take his tennis. He played in cowboy boots
Virgil from Cuesta?
No, here.
from Cerro. So he played in his cowboy boots, and back then you can imagine these weren't the long shorts that came closer to the knees. These were the Daisy Duke shorts. You showed a lot of leg. So he played. Well, after we won that bottle, we come back. We had been drinking it, and I told Ted, we're going to go down to the bottom of Cerro on Buena Vista Road, the main black one where the airport is. We're going to go down there. There's a party down there. We're going to go. We showed up. One of our other friends was there at that house. The first thing he did was he fell through the bathroom glass doors. Boom, they threw us all out of that house. Get out of here, they told us. And this is when we were still young. We were probably 15, 16, okay? So we decided, Ted and I, that we would drink all we could. And we did all we could.
Did you finish it?
I turned around and I told him, hide the bottle. Okay. He said, I'll take it. I dropped him off at his house next to the post office there in Cerro. His brother was the one that used to make the hole into the ground playing baseball. We were always together. So what happened was I went home. My mom and my sister couldn't find me. They searched. They were all over Cuesta, Cerro looking for me. I slept in the corrals in the car, right? I had a 67 El Camino. I passed out over there and I slept. Finally, I came out alive. I showed up. My mom chewed me out. So this is where it's coming back to say pig, cochino, marano, sucio, puerco. That's what she called every one of those words to me. She chewed me out.
My dad was still alive, and he told me, back then it was just packaged liquor, and he told me, I wasn't even 21, he told me, open the bar if you'd like to. So I opened the bar, and I ran the bar. But anyway, the story, one night, I think we had to shut at midnight, the bar. So I shut off all the fluorescent lights, shut the curtains, locked the door. We were having a heck of a good party going on, probably like 2 in the morning. When one of the local guys there, he was passed out on the bar. And about 2 in the morning, knocking on the door. And finally I go over there, and it was the state police. And they tell me, you're not supposed to be open. I told them, we're not, it's a private party. You're not supposed to be selling. We're not, it's a private party. The guy got up like that and, get the F out of here, he told them. They turned around and left. For 3 days I was shooting bricks. I said, they're gonna come back. And I was afraid because I wasn't old enough.
Yeah.
But nothing never came about it.
When they left, they left.
When they left, they left, yeah.
No, you know, when you're a kid, and because we lost my dad in '77. He passed away at what age?
52.
52 years old.
Wow.
So we were invincible back then. We had a reign of a bar. We had everything. You know, we did our chores, we did our work, we kept it going, but we kept everything up and up. And I always remember my mom would turn around and tell us, first thing you guys got to do is that shag carpet.
And that was the thick shag?
Oh, it was ugly, thick,
you-
long hair shag.
You had to rake it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had to rake it.
We had to rake it.
Was that in the bar?
No, in the house.
No, in the house.
Was it green?
Orange. It was an orange one.
But our father, with several of the elders, started the first fire department in Cerro. And they finally bought a fire truck, like a 1964 or something. It was an older truck. Anyway, my dad passed away at the fire building. I was at the bar working. My little brother was running to check on my dad at the bar. And my dad liked whiskey, so he'd come in, do a shot, and go back. Anyway, my brother runs back in and goes, Dad, something wrong with Dad. So I run over there, and he was laying over the middle of the front seat there. He had tools in his hand. He was foaming already. His fingertips were blue, and he was blue. And so the garage door was open. There was a window like that. I touched it, and I felt the glass. But he had opened the window. He had already slided. I touched the wrong slide, so I put my hand through the window and broke it. I drug him out, and I felt a pulse. We did CPR to him, but I'm glad he went because he had already had
Carbon monoxide.
carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide.
You know, I don't think he died of carbon monoxide. I think he had a stroke first because he didn't release no tools. His head was not resting on the floorboard. He was stiff. So I think the carbon monoxide probably killed him
From
later.
the vehicle or?
From the fire truck was running.
Oh, the
He was doing some maintenance on the truck.
Oh.
And he was coming from the auction barn with my mom. They had gone to sell, what else? Pigs.
We had to go sell some pigs, so. You know, the funny story on that whole thing, you know how you're going through Manassas and you pass over the Rio Grande? That bridge right there? We went all the way to the sale barn. We get there and we seen the pigs sell. We went to a restaurant there, Trujillo's, I think there in Alamosa. We were eating. We talked about my dad, different things and everything that we're doing, because he made my mom and I take everything to sell that day. He said he had to work on that fire truck. So the whole day we spent it talking. On our way back, when we crossed that bridge, I was driving and I felt somebody do like this real nice to me, a nice pat. And I looked over and I turned around and I tell my mom, what do you need, Mom? She says, I didn't talk to you. Just as she said that, the truck went flat, pulled me off to the side. I get there, I change the flat. We got there when they were already pronounced my dad dead. A week went by, a week after that went by. I took the tire to the Texaco at Norbert's over here. They just put air. It held air. It was like my dad saying,
Yeah.
Goodbye.
yeah,
The moment he passed away is
Yeah.
when that tire went flat.
that's when the tire went flat.
Then he patted you on the.
It was a nice pat. It was a nice touch right on the shoulder. And I thought it was my mom. I turned around and I told her, what do you want? No, it was just,
You know, the stories on that line also, my mom had a brother in Salt Lake. She had a sister here and a brother, Melinda and Ernest. Anyway, in Salt Lake was Levi. I would be working, still BLM here at Welch, and she said, get ready, you're taking me to Salt Lake. Okay, Mom, I'd take off. So I think we made it as far as Green River or something. My uncle and I would get a room. My mom and her sister would get another room. Like at 2 a.m, somebody was knocking on the door. I get up and go look. My mom got the same knock on her door. And I told her, Mom, everything okay? She goes, well, why did you knock on my door? I tried to knock on your door. I thought you knocked on mine. So we went back to bed. We got to her brother's house in Salt Lake, and my cousin comes out and he goes, you're like 2 hours too late. My dad just died, you know.
Wow.
So, you know, got to one of those stories that they let you know.
That happened to me once. My uncle passed away, and my two cousins and I were visiting at my house, and there was a pop in my microwave. So I got up to look, and there was nothing, but that was the time that he passed. That's the only time I've ever had that kind of extraterrestrial experience.
and it's kind of nice sometimes, you know, it's a good memory. I look at it, it didn't scare me, it didn't. It was just his way of saying goodbye.
Adios.
Yeah.
You know, and my mom, that lady, she was a workaholic
How long did she live?
till 93,
3.
93 years old.
And there was how many of you?
There's 6 of us.
Oh,
We have 3 older sisters.
oh, okay.
One of them has just passed away not too long ago, Connie.
Connie.
That was my oldest sister. So I'm going to tell you guys a story on my mom. You guys will love this one. So, and Michael can probably relate because we didn't take my mom to a home. We took turns watching her. We'd go sleep over there. She got us hooked on Price is Right. What's the other one?
Jimmy Swagger.
Jimmy Swaggart, Wheel of Fortune, and all them. She had us watching all those. So the funny part about it, my wife and I were going to go to Arkansas, and my brothers and sisters were going to watch her. She goes to one of my sisters and turns around and says, I want an affidavit made. And my sister says, why do you want an affidavit? Because Rick's not here watching me. We're going to take him to jail. She wanted to put me in jail for not watching her. I was in Arkansas, right? So I come back, they tell me the whole story, and my mom's telling me, well, you weren't here to watch. I said, Mom, don't worry, I already bought orange pajamas. I know what I look like in jail. I'm all right, I'm covered.
We took turns watching her, and so I bought her a whistle.
Oh, yeah.
I told her, Mom, if you need help in the middle of the night, blow the whistle. Well, she tried to grab it and she'd lose it. It dropped and she couldn't find it. So that, no, I got a bell for her, a bell. Ring it, we could get up and help you. She dropped it. So I got a whistle and we tied it on her finger right there so she could whistle. Of course, she didn't have a whole lot of air, but we'd sleep right next door. But anyway, we were supposed to be watching her. She'd get up in the night and go make sure we're okay.
Yeah.
Tell her, Mom, we're here to watch you. You don't need to watch us. But then I could hear her get up and I could hear the cookie jar.
You
She
should
liked
go to
her
the
cookies.
cookie jar. This was 1:00 in the morning.
And then I would tell her, because I got her edibles, so she'd get anxiety. I told her, Mom, try an edible. She liked them.
They had them back then?
Well, this was just a few years ago.
Oh.
She died just 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
She was 93. I told her, Mom, let's smoke a joint. And she goes, what if they drug test me? I told her, Mom, you're 93 years old. Who's going to drug test you? I told her, we already hid the keys to your car. But I tell everybody, I didn't have tears of sadness when she passed. I had tears of joy because we spent some good time. She told me stories when she was from Costilla. They would go saddle up the horses, put the harnesses, hook up the buckboard wagon, and go to Jaroso on the buckboard wagon. I had never heard these stories. And she was telling stories that I had never heard, it was interesting. Pardon me?
What was her maiden last?
She was a Trujillo. So we're
Trujillo.
related to all the Arellanos, all the Lovatos. In fact, before we had to go stay with her, she would call us. So she would misdial. She was calling Bernie Torres. So, finally, Gladys called the police here in Cuesta. They said, I'm getting this phone call from this lady, and she keeps saying, help me, come and help me. I need your help, So she called the police, and they did a welfare check. My sister was there. They did a welfare check on my mom. She was misdialing. Like I say, it was fun.
But she was okay.
Yeah, 93 years old.
Yeah.
What was her full name?
Margaret.
Margaret Mary.
Tim's got a question.
Hey, Joseph, do you have any stories about Wild Rivers or memories that you could share with us?
Oh, there's a lot of, there was a lot of good stories. We as kids, we grew up in the Wild River. So John Bailey hired me, thanks, And this is John Bailey there, right there. He's my fearless leader.
Best hire I ever made.
Anyway, it was great. I liked hiking the trails down La Junta, where it forked off to go to the river and come back upstream. There was a little place there with a lot of flints. I used to call that my old shit pile, because the Native Americans were probably making arrowheads, and they'd break one and, oh shit, start another one. Oh shit, And there was a big pile of flint, and that's what it was, But
Did you ever find arrowheads?
oh yeah, we'd go hiking up Guadalupe, and Marty's a character. I could tell you stories on Marty. Anyway, we would find one, and he said, "Oh, I think I'd take it home." I told Marty, "We can't. It's bad juju. We have bad luck. We got to leave it right there." And we would leave them, look at them and hold them, and
Is that true? I went to Chaco Canyon and I was really picking up beautiful rocks. I got back to camp and they, where'd you get all those? I picked them up on the trail. You better take them back. It scared me.
You didn't have the proper permit.
fishing was great, Tim. I hope you could get down in the river and fish, catch and release, and
We were there yesterday. We went fishing yesterday down the Rio Grande. My boy, my grandson, and I. And I'll tell you what, I'd never seen the Rio Grande so dry like what it looks. It was kind of sad to see it so low. Just the thought of not having the water that we're used to seeing, it's kind of depressing. But coming up, I'm walking up and I'm telling my grandson and my son, I said, you know what, God has a plan. Just got to have patience, got to have faith. We want it now. It's not going to happen now. I feel sorry for the people of Cerro with no water. That's a struggle.
And that's happened before? Is this the second time? Or the
It's probably gone a few times in the history, that they've had problems, the wells. Because, when I first started working, I got out of high school, I went to Albuquerque, I became a welder. I was a welder, I did welding at the mine. Then I changed professions. I went and I worked with a well driller in Taos for 9 years. I worked digging wells. So we're going to see water tables drop. We're going to see different things happen. But I get calls from people because I'm the president of our Cerro irrigation community. My wife and I are together working on it. I get calls from people and they'll turn around and tell me, what's it look like this year, Rick? Are we going to have water? This is almost a yearly. One lady will call me and I look at her and I turn around and tell her, look at the mountain. What does it show? It's dry. It's going to be dry, I tell her. It's going to be dry.
Has the state engineer verified that the water table has dropped?
Well, you know what? I don't think the state engineer has even come in and looked at the water wells in Cerro. The last time I went to the community meeting that they had on the water, I asked them if anybody had done a probe and checked the depth of the water and see what it is. They said they were waiting for the state to do it. And I turned around and told them, you know what? Put a crescent wrench with a rope, drop it down, get your depth. If you start the pump up, you see what it's drawing, there are indications. But we're getting to see so much, like going back to the Rio Grande, when we were brought up in high school, I don't know if you guys ever remember passing, I know like Evangeline and them, the ones that were living there in Cerro, the mine had given the fire department some of those big Electro-Hall tires, the massive tires that are probably about this wide. We decided to steal one. We went down to the first campground there in Chiflo, right? We did a bonfire. It burned for 5 days. Wow.
The tire?
That tire burned for 5 days.
Wow.
We partied that one night. It was black smoke. We had Cerro with black smoke all over.
Ricky talked about fishing. I turned 70. I get my fishing license for free now. But I've never had a fishing license in my life. But if I go get a fishing license, it ain't gonna be no fun. I just ruined it, man.
He don't want to go fishing with me now.
I know I went and got one. It was free because I was over 70 and got a pole from my friend, bait and everything. I never used it.
It's no fun.
I didn't use it.
Anyway.
Okay, so I'm gonna share something with a lot of the ones that were here. There was that Tony Red, which you guys know Tony Red from the bar? Yeah, Trujillo. He was married to a lady named Butchie.
Oh, and the monkey.
And the monkey.
Henry.
They had a chimpanzee. Okay.
And the tiger.
They had the
wolf.
The wolves. So we used to go drop off Jenna and Julie after football practice, and first thing we would do is open up the door and we would throw those girls out because those animals would come running right to your car. They would jump on the door. Well, this chimpanzee, he used to like to hitch rides if he got away. You would see him hitch a ride. He would drink a beer. He would smoke a cigarette, smoke a joint, everything. So one day he drives up with some people in the car. One of those older guys was passed out. Well, the monkey had him hugged like that and would give him kisses. I wish I would have had a camera. The pictures would have done everything back then. But those are things that we tell stories to the kids, and our kids will look at us and turn around and say, no, it's not.
It was a real champagne?
It was,
champ.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Champagne.
Butchie Denver. She was
They-
married to John Denver.
Bob
Bob Denver,
Bob
yeah, from Gilligan's Island. But that Henry would go to the bar with her, or Tony, and he would wrestle with people.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody,
But
oh, yeah.
he was so cool about it, because they're so strong, they could have torn him. But he would wrestle, have fun with them, drink beer. He would get drunk with everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a Cuesta drunk.
A chimpanzee.
I'm
Yeah,
serious.
yeah. Henry, you would never believe Henry, but Tony Red had Henry up in La Lama, and when I went to, I was still living here. Henry was pretty frail.
He was already, yeah.
And LT said, once he dies, I'm going to make chaps out of him.
LT is Tony's brother, Lino. But that was an adventure.
No, it was.
No, that Henry was an adventure.
People don't believe it, but Henry, you had to see it to believe it.
So was Henry the chimpanzee?
The chimpanzee.
And they're smaller, right? They're not big.
Oh no,
No.
they might be smaller, but they're.
He was big. He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't the small like what we see those little chimps. He was.
You had to watch out. That hand would come from back here, and he would whack you. He
If he wanted the cigarette or if you were smoking, he would hit and take it from you. He would come into our bar. They would bring him to the bar, and we'd see him. And
He was a drunk.
Yeah.
you never carded him. Never carded him. You know,
Pictures of him anywhere?
I don't know. We'd have to ask maybe like Tony Red and see. Oh, there's my daughter.
No, that was something. He was something.
That's my daughter.
So what did he wear?
What's that?
What did he wear?
Nothing.
I saw him with overalls one time.
Could have been, yeah.
He could have been. You know,
Fachetas?
I don't know if Mark remembers because Mark is and Carla are my classmates. We had something. I think a carnival at the high school, the old high school here, when he stirred up a chaos over the other monkeys and everything. Even the camel took off running and everything down the baseball field because of Henry.
It was a high school in Cerro?
Right here.
Here in
Oh,
Cuesta.
this one here.
Oh, okay.
We were right here at this high school.
Oh, yeah, we came here.
So did he actually go into bars?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he would sit there and drink beer with everybody.
Really?
What year was that, Michael?
Back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Back in the 70s, yeah.
Did he get drunk?
Oh, yeah.
He was a Cuesta drunk.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? He could handle himself.
Yeah, he could. Think about this. Those animals are 10 times stronger than a human. And he would wrestle with the guys, and he would never hurt anybody.
No.
He would get him and toss him around, and because there was several guys thought that, Primo Roy Panza, he thought he was stronger than Henry, and they would get it. Henry would just.
Yeah.
It was amazing to
was
watch. It
unbelievable,
really
yeah.
was. That's a Cuesta story.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that we have a lot of stories. In fact, I think my brother was the one bartending during the time that the bikers first started a rumble here in Red River. They came in, all of a sudden they drove up to the house, some guys, right? They showed up, they turned around and they wanted to get a gang of all the locals to go beat up the bikers in Red River when they were getting out of hand.
That was the first incident they had with bikers in Red River. I think it was like 78 or 70. I don't know if you remember that year.
John
What happened
John
up in Red
Gaillard was,
River, the district judge was there, and he didn't like what he was seeing, so he had the state police escort him out of Red River. So where did they escort him to? Cuesta.
Cuesta.
And what started the problem here was, I can't remember who the guy from Cuesta was, had just finished rebuilding a 1956 Chevy, I think, and he drove and he was turning around at the lake, and they stopped him and scratched the hell out of the car. And then, of course, Cuesta and Cerro went up in arms.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was working with the Forest Service then, and when they escorted them out, it was just right above the mine. They camped on that area, and there was bullet holes, there was weed, there was shoes, you name it, there was leather jackets. But that same year, four people or 6 people drowned. They tried to launch from Sheep's Crossing, and within minutes, they drowned.
Yeah.
They tried to do what?
They tried to raft. The Rio Grande was running much higher back then.
Oh, yeah.
It was
And
it was a 6 at that time, wasn't it?
probably
Yeah,
6.
that's the highest, 6, something like that, and
I think they found 2 or 3 immediately. I got to ride with Margaret Gonzalez. She was with the Forest Service. We rode on a helicopter in the gorge looking for bodies there on the edge there.
Is that Maggie? No?
Hmm?
Maggie? No?
no.
Margaret
Margaret.
Oh,
Gonzalez.
there's another Margaret.
Yeah. And I think they found one like a week later, and then I think Tony Espinosa found the last one.
Yeah.
When water went down, Mr. Espinosa found the last body.
Wow.
So it was the bikers that?
No, this
No,
this
it was
was-
during the time.
It was during the same
Oh,
time.
same
at
time.
The bikers were happening up here, and they were trying to float the Rio Grande down there.
We had one of the local guys from Cerro drive up to the bar and turn around and told all the guys, get your guns, get your pistols, get everything, because we're going to go kill some bikers. Nobody moved. So he turned around and he told them in Spanish, I'll say it in English, go hide underneath your mom's dresses if you guys are scared and don't show up. He turned around and told them all. But the mayor from Cuesta back then was John Gayur.
No, he wasn't the mayor
Was
yet.
he the mayor?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't the mayor yet. But he's the one that
You
shot.
let it.
Shot-
You
yeah.
let it up there.
He's the one that...
He was elected mayor
After.
a couple of years after.
No, but that's how you get votes.
Yeah. It was so funny because there at the Four Roses, the bar now, that whole porch thing was full of Cuesta guys with rifles and pistols. And there was a state cop, Cisneros. He was only a couple of years into the state. He drives up, everybody go home, and then takes off, and everybody, what? And then John used a shotgun and hit about 5 of those guys. But then they had to drop all the charges because nobody came to testify against him.
Yeah.
They didn't want to come back to Cuesta. They got as far as San Luis, and the San Luis people, cop stopper says, you don't want to go to Cuesta, they're waiting for you. And you said, you come to Cuesta and there was trucks all over the place with people with rifles and a lot of beer and a lot of whiskey.
No, they were prepared.
They were ready.
You never know when dehydration's going to kick in. Got to be prepared. You know, it's like the other day I was on my side-by-side and I had, I carry my rifle with me because a lot of times I'll see something that I got to target practice.
Yeah.
And he turns around and he looks at me because this guy that lives out there towards the airport. He looks at me, he says, why do you have your rifle? I look at him, I said, I got to carry this with me. There's a lot of people that are looking for me. He just looks at me, he says, well, sir, I'm not looking for you. But those are things we were brought up when, I don't know if you guys are all familiar with the road going to Sunshine through the back end of the Wild Rivers, takes you all back there. In our younger days, we would go riding out there, and back then, because we had access to the bar, we could get beer, whatever we wanted. We would go on the pickup. So one time there was 5 of us that were going on the pickup. The first thing we did, we opened up some beers. We were going down nice and slow. First thing we killed was 1 rattler. We were all happy. We drank a beer, get on the pickup. We go down the road again, open another beer. It was a total of 6 rattlers we killed. And all the rattlers were facing from west going east. For some reason, all the rattlers were all, but we had rattlers stretched on top of the. So yesterday that we went fishing, we were there on a leash trail. My grandson was walking from me to the camera right here in front of me. He steps on top of a rock and he's standing on the rock and we're talking, and when I looked down, big old rattler came in between him and I. It went right next to her. My grandson says, I've never seen one. I said, well, you don't want to see one. This one had probably about 8 cascabeles on the rattler. Nice and fat.
Did you kill it?
No, I left it alone.
He didn't bother you guys, and
No.
your son didn't get scared?
Bad juju.
My dad.
It is. To kill it, just to kill it. It's bad news.
No, you know, the rattler, he's going to warn you. So he didn't warn me that he was afraid of me. I didn't bother him because I was the one that seen it. I stopped, I looked at him, and I said, okay, maybe he has a pass to go in front of me. I don't know.
So you remember the little rock house that was over there going to Sunshine?
Mm-hmm.
Acequia, you remember that?
Yeah. In fact, there's stories of those places out there that there was a man named Diego Martinez that lived there in Cerro. I know Diego. His granddaughter would come from Denver. When I was in high school, I would date her once in a while, and we would go flying out there to Rio Grande, Sunshine, all those chamizos out there. So one time she turns around and she drives up with this other guy, and I had 2 guys with me. And she turns around and she says, well, I was meaning to go see you, but I didn't go, but this guy showed up. And I said, okay. So we went, we got all the way to the Ute Mountain. We're coming back. We found the truck stranded. They were in there. They couldn't start it. I turned around and said, no, they're going to pay. So I hooked up the chain to his truck, right? And he says, I just need to pop the clutch and I'll be able to start it. I had him through the sagebrush going about 50 miles an hour on first gear. So I finally stopped, and the truck had been jumping in the sagebrush. You could see it. And then I disconnect the chain. He says, my truck started way back there. I look at him, I says, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry, I didn't hear your truck start.
Maybe you guys can tell me if a story that I heard about. There was an old man in Cerro that would once a year would take his horse and go up to Latin and get a bar of gold, and that's what his family lived on for a year. And I don't know if it's true or not, or if you've even heard about that.
No,
No?
I didn't hear that. One story that I had never heard was Jerry Sanchez told me that an aircraft crashed into the mountain there in 1941. I didn't know that. I guess there were 6 people, a military aircraft, and they all died. But I had never heard that story.
So going to the story that you're saying, Mike, of the gold.
Yeah.
My mom always turned around and told me a story that her brother, his name was Fernando, he had died at a young age. They used to watch sheep, all that El Rito area up in there. That he fell into a cave, and when he fell into the cave, they could see the gold bars.
Wow.
And they went back to look for it.
Couldn't find it.
Never found it.
Yeah, well, that's what.
Never found it.
Yeah, the story about this man was, and the guys the people telling the story was, the other guys would follow him, but once he got up on the mountains there, he would disappear. It's like they couldn't follow him, and then before they know it, he was back in Cerro with his bar of gold. And
Yeah, never heard that story.
And as far as that airplane, there was one up in Costilla Peak
Yeah.
that I actually did see the part of that plane up there. Amos Herrera and I were up there having a beer.
You know, we live in a beautiful place. I gotta be truthful. A lot of people have not seen, right above Tia's restaurant, the Guadalupe Mountain, there's a jar up there.
A what?
A jar, a glass jar. You can put your name in it. Right now, as it is, there's only 6 signatures in it. You gotta climb to the peak and get up there on top. And
Too many snakes.
But then they saw the bear there, so we don't want to go there.
well, what's a bear gonna do to a leon?
To a leon.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you. I run cattle above Midnight Meadows. We have permits up there, and my boy and I the one that works for the Forest Service, were working on the fence where you go up Greeny Peak, just at the bottom of the creek, down there in the bottom. So we're working, we're kneeling down, we're putting wire up on the posts, everything, and all of a sudden here comes a guy on a UTV flying down. We could hear him on the road, coming from Red River down into Midnight Meadows. All of a sudden it stopped. The son and the dad come running to where we were at, and they turned around and they told us, "Didn't you guys see those 4 mountain lions that ran right behind you?" We didn't see nothing. There was 4 mountain lions that they said that they ran right behind us while we were kneeling down. So my family, my kids, my wife and my kids put me on 360. They know where I'm at every time now. Why? I left work because I worked for Kit Carson Electric for 28 years. I was an engineer there. I designed all the electric lines. I left work and I went straight up the mountain. Usually I would carry something with me. That day I only had a whip. So I'm out that way towards Bitter Creek side, where you go up, where they have the gates closed now. I'm walking and I'm looking for some cattle and everything, and all of a sudden I heard something behind me, and I turn around and I look to the left, didn't see nothing. Look to the right, didn't see nothing. Start walking again and I heard some stuff behind me. It was a big old bear that popped out on me. So this bear, first thing that came to my mind, I said, I'm looking for cubs. If he has cubs, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I got to kiss my world goodbye. I said, I'm not fast enough to run out of a bear. So the bear was walking from here to the front entrance of the door alongside me for about 45 yards. He would go walking alongside me and he would stop and look at me. He would walk, I would walk, he would stop and look at me. Finally, I found the biggest aspen tree I could find. I backed myself up to the aspen tree and I'm with a whip, waiting for that bear to
come by.
From here to Glenda, who's sitting right here, he walked right in front of me, tapered right down the mountain. He just dropped straight down. But
he fell or he
ran off?
No, he walked down. He ran down. He didn't even run. He walked down. He was having a good time. But on this bear, the way they tell you that you have to look at a bear, look at, if you can see his ears, the majority of his ear, he's a younger bear. Once he's an older bear, you'll barely see the tip. I could barely see the tip of his ear.
He didn't like Spanish food.
He didn't like Spanish food?
I didn't have food. So in 1988, I fought Yellowstone fires. I was over there fighting those fires. Well, here was a crew from Jemez. There was another crew from Arkansas. Then they had a crew from Cuesta and Taos mixed. So when they come in with a dozer, what they do is they clean a clear path. They turn around and says, follow that path. You guys are going to be all right. Get to that cleared area. We're walking like that. All of a sudden, here's 20 Indians running, throwing backpacks. The Pulaski shovels, everything were flying all over. They're running full blast, speaking in their language. What they were saying, I don't know. Here's 20 Mexicans, 20 Indians, 20 Arkansas guys. When we seen the 20 Indians run by, watch those crazy guys. Big old grizzly bear popped out. Boom. One of the biggest grizzly bears I've ever seen in all my life.
Are they black or brown?
No, it was like a dark brown, long haired. You could smell it. You could smell it. So the funny part about it is 20 Indians, then 20 of us Mexicans running. And those guys from Arkansas was seeing 20 Indians fly by. 20 Mexicans. All of a sudden, we watched and we all scattered to the sides like that on the trail on that big swath that they cleaned. That bear just walked right through the middle of where we were at. So we go over there and we said, let's see how big of a bear he was. We seen him. 12 1/4 inch was his back foot, from the tip of the nail to the back of the pad. That was a big bear. I had never seen a bear in all my life like that big. I've seen them here. So they turn around and they says, okay, we're going to move you guys to a spy camp. And I said, okay, what are you going to do? They said, we'll haul you some food in tin cans. You guys are going to sit up there on the top of the mountain and watch this fire for a few days. Okay. They put us in a little gully area. We're asleep. And you guys probably know Dickie Cordova, La Plebe that sings from Taos. Every night he would take out a picture of his wife or his girlfriend and put it on the tree. So I was sleeping next to the tree here and he was here. All of a sudden we heard footsteps. Went by a moose and a baby. They walked right through where we were at. They probably stepped on his sleeping bag because he was in the path more than where I was. They moved us out of there. They turned around and says, let's get you guys out of here. But the adventures that we went through, like in Yellowstone, there was a place called Gravel Lake that the fire overran us, that had to jump into the lake, drop some trees, and we were already floating on the tree. When the helicopters looked like what they looked like in a war movie, it dropped into the lake, and we had to all jump in. My brother's classmate, Jimmy Baca, if you guys know Jimmy Baca, he was one of us with us. We all jumped on helicopters. We didn't think nothing of it. We said, okay. And I remember because Jimmy Baca put a claim through the government that his leather jacket of his Harley jacket got burned. His 35 millimeter camera got burned. They reimbursed it. They send us an R&R.
When he was in Yellowstone, I was in Idaho. We could see his fire from where we were. But on a fire organization, they have a safety officer. So if a grizzly's coming by or moose or something, they'll tell you,
get out.
100 feet this way or 100 feet that way. But the fighting fire stories could go on forever. I have one that's really memorable. I don't remember where we were at, but they flew it. There was a snowdrift, and there was a tree burning on the top, a big snowdrift. They flew us up there, and all the guys did was make snowballs. Then they made a slide for the snow. 2 days we stayed up there. They'd fly us up pancakes in the morning, they'd lunch, steaks for dinner. But for 2 days we were up there, and the guys made that with trash bags. They were sliding down the. It was a good one.
I don't know if you guys have ever been to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, where they have the arches. Did you go into the Cowboy Saloon?
The arches of the antlers.
Yeah.
I lived there.
You seen the Cowboy Saloon that they had the saddles as seats that you could sit on? We went an R&R for a week there. So we all put our money and drank for a whole week. R&R in that saloon. Yeah. They knew us, those people knew us every day that we'd come in, 20 of us. We'd drink there like crazy. So from there, they turned around and they flew us over the Grand Tetons on a helicopter. When they flew over this one area, there was an area there that was probably maybe half a mile wide that the trees had been blown down. Just the timber was just laying on top of each other. We're on one of those Chinooks helicopters. They dropped the back door down. You could look out. We're cruising real nice, having a good time. When the pilot makes a whole turn and he comes back and he turns around and says, I'm going to show you guys, the guys that were helping the pilot. When they did the turn, it was a white albino moose in the middle of that timber, taking a jump. So, you get to see adventures that, and don't think that you're going to go and have a heyday on some of these things. One time we were there in Stockton, California, and what do they call the food that they give you?
MRE.
MREs. Well, we had boxes full. The government gave us that food. We get into what's the name of the place? I'm just trying to think. It was out right there by the Shasta Wilderness. And we're going in like that. We seen a family of 3 little kid asking for food. They had a sign. Bus driver, this was a colored guy that was driving our bus, and he chewed us out because we went out the back door and gave him a whole case of that food.
Yeah.
A whole case of food. First thing they did, they popped it, they tore it, they were eating like if they had been hungry for days. All the way going, it was close to Stockton, is where we were coming into there on the bus. He started giving a hard time of that we gave food. They even had to get a new bus driver because we didn't cut no slack on him. They called a whole new bus driver. So we get into this place right there in Bakersfield and all this area and all that area. The staging area was in Stockton, Bakersfield. When we got up to Bakersfield, we're going into the wilderness like that on a deuce and a half, one of those army trucks. And all of a sudden we could see like hillbillies with suspenders, corn on the cob hats. First thing they were doing was like this to us as we were passing. So one of the local guys turns around and tells me, I don't think they like us. No, that's how they welcome everybody here. So we would go past another house, and the first thing he would do.
You know, when I was at the Santa Fe State Office, they wanted 100 firefighters in Canada. And with my qualifications, so I took, it had to be all government employees with passports. They flew us into Edmonton, and I don't remember where the fire was. And the permafrost was probably 10, 12 feet thick. And probably within 2 weeks, we'd get off the helicopter and we were knee deep in water. But, you know, talking about helicopters, it's a lot of lodge poles, and they had seismic lines where the oil lines are. The helicopter pilots here in the States wouldn't do what they would do over there. They would come on the seismic line and buzz it like that, and then they would go straight up and then turn the nose. And they would do that to chase off bears, because they wouldn't unload us if it wasn't clear. But they would scare the heck out of you. You know, and here in the States, if a helicopter pilot did that, he was grounded. Over there, it was totally different, but scary if you haven't, you know. We weren't used to that.
It's like where Tim works there at the Wild River. This was probably about 10 years ago. We were down inside the river there, closer to, in between Bear Crossing and that area, the second campground. We were fishing when an Air Force pilot dropped into the canyon. He was in the canyon. He rode the canyon. And that didn't, you know, oh, wow. Then came the boom. Boom! I lost my fishing rod. He went in the water. That scared me.
What was the boom?
Well, the sonic boom from the jet.
Oh.
The sonic boom came after.
Couldn't catch up to the plane.
But twice in my lifetime, I've seen that happen.
Oh, yeah. We used to see it frequently. I think one time I called the Taos Airport, and they said the regulation says they could fly 500 feet off the ground as long as they have a safe place to land. In the gorge, there's no safe place.
I tell you what, those pilots are pretty daring to do with the maneuvers.
But they did it.
Well, there was a couple of them that went under the Rio Grande.
The gorge?
Yeah, the bridge there.
Oh, yeah.
They flew under that.
So, I don't know if a lot of you guys know Jimmy Ortega. Jimmy Ortega, he was with us in a fire in Nogales, Arizona. So all the head honchos of the fire department, of the Forest Service, were sitting on top of a hill when they brought all the Cuesta crew down in, and they said, you guys are going to have to patrol all night here and make sure this fire doesn't jump the light. Okay, we said, we'll do it. We volunteered Jimmy to walk all night, and we put lights on his arms, on his legs. We slept. 19 of us slept while he walked all night. Come that morning, we get back up the hill, and they turned around and they said, you Cuesta crew's a good crew. You got a good crew. We could see lights all night long. It was Jimmy Ortega who walked all night.
Is that the same Jimmy Gorgeous?
Yeah, Jimmy Gorgeous, the one that still wears the same high school pants from high school. He said those are his pants that he's wearing. He's a permit. He has permits with us up there in Midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, just to give you, this was, it had to have been 15, 16 years ago. Him and I were riding horseback coming off of Greeny Peak when we found an Oriental lady hanging from a tree. Jimmy and I found her.
Well, that's kind of normal.
Where at?
Up in Midnight,
Yeah. Where's that at?
above the mountains up here on top.
Yeah.
That, those are things that,
Did you ever find out the story behind?
oh, I asked how come she didn't write. Never did find out.
Nobody?
No.
Never came forward?
Nothing.
No.
Of all the places in the United States, how does Cuesta get selected to be firefighters in these other places? Do you volunteer or hear about
I'll let my brother answer. He works with the Forest Service.
First, you need to pass a physical and then do a pack test. And if you do all that, and they probably have a basic firefighting course. You take it and.
Well, I know a brother-in-law's worked fires. He's from Tennessee. I just
And then the main thing was you needed money,
Yeah.
that's it.
or you're running away from your wife. You needed a vacation.
Well, they even have crews out of the prisons, right?
I fought fires on the ground probably for about maybe 18 seasons. Overall, supported firefighting for 27 seasons. And you make money. If you could walk and walk and walk, you could do firefighting. But you get big checks, you pay big bills. Now that I'm older, I kind of regret. My daughter was born in June. My son was born in September. I can't remember ever attending one of their birthday parties. Now that I'm elder, I said, well, shit, I missed a lot. And that's fire season. But you pay bills.
Where you're saying inmates, we were fighting a fire in Payson, Arizona, when they were using inmates. Okay, so when we got into Payson, Arizona, the camp that they had, they put Cuesta crew almost like on an island up on top, which was like a football field. And then it dropped down to the main camp. So we're sitting up on top. There's inmates that were there, and we got in late at night. So all of a sudden, there were lady inmates. Lady inmates to the left of us, of the camp where we were sleeping. And we woke up to screaming, yelling, fighting. 2 lady inmates were going at each other. First thing they did was one club right behind the back, carried them like if they were carrying a bag of groceries out. Then they had the men inmates at the farthest end of the camp on one side. Well, right there in Payson, Arizona, when you crawl up the gully up to where we were at, there was a little town, nice little place. You could see cars, a backhoe, everything. They called us and they turned around and says, the fire is overrunning that little town. Get to the top of the safety zone. So we were already up on top. When we came back down on that gully, that's where those inmates got burnt. You could actually see where they had covered them, where 5 had taken off one end, 1 had taken off downhill. And I had never seen in all my life a backhoe. The boom almost looked like it got twisted.
Wow.
And that was where?
In Payson, Arizona.
Is that the one they made the movie of?
No.
The fire? Yeah, because there was.
It could have been, but
Yeah, there was another.
no.
one.
We were there because they lost the ones in was it Colorado?
In Rifle.
Rifle.
Glenwood.
That's the one that made the big headlines. All of them died.
The inmates, they used to bring them in and used to use them as tool sharpeners. Because some of them you can't put them out because they would escape. So they would put a zone, and their job was just sharpen tools. And you come off the line, turn in your tool. In the morning, you take a tool out that's been sharpened.
In all your days out there, did you ever see anything that looked like a UFO?
You'd have to ask Dino.
Yeah, Dino know. Because you had friends who were tree planters and firefighters, and they would tell you stories. They'd see stuff.
No, not.
Nowhere. Nope.
If you're fighting a fire, half of the time it was pretty smoky, so.
You know,
You didn't
here,
get to see
here
the
at the
stuff.
house, maybe about 3 months ago, Joanne and I were out looking at the sky, and what we did see was like 4 lights like a box. There was about 6 boxes in a line, and they were traveling from west to east.
Oh, I've seen those.
I had never seen that.
Yeah, that's what Starlink.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, I've noticed those too. And sometimes they'll be in a line like that.
Yeah, they were in a line, and they.
Yeah.
She said, "What is that?" I had never seen them.
That's what Elon Musk is.
Oh.
He's throwing up thousands of satellites, and so you're seeing them a lot more, I think.
I've seen the International Space Station because you could track it on their web.
So
And
he's
that's
the, he's the
interesting.
one that's polluting our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night sky.
Skies.
Thousands of those things.
You know, it's a shame that we're seeing so much going on. Our acequias, you know, right now Cerro is struggling to get water.
Everything's brown.
It's look at El Prado, all those areas that used to be lush with
I
grass.
know, it's so sad.
Dying trees.
Yeah.
We have trees that are done.
Pueblo, all that pasture in the Pueblo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trees are starting to show stress.
Yeah.
And isn't this tsunami, not tsunami, monsoon weather soon? Or about this time?
La
They're
Niña,
supposed to be coming, but we don't know yet.
La Niña, El
Usually in the
Niño.
summertime, right?
We usually get our rains in July.
Yeah.
It's always when we cut hay.
I have a question for you. Do you have any stories about working with Aron?
Oh,
my
I don't
goodness.
know.
Buddy out there.
Aaron, Rael, Cynthia's brother.
It was fun working with Aron. I've known Aron all my life. He was a left-hander, so when I would kind of piss him off, and I knew when to lay off because that fist would go like that. But anyway, at Wild Rivers, I was walking up. We found a elk kill, so we went and put a game camera. And sure, we took some really nice, lot of nice pictures. And I told Aron, why don't you go up there and take the chip off and this process, look at the pictures. He goes, I'm not going up there. He goes, you go up there and tie a stake around your neck, he tells me. But anyway, as far as walking on the ridge up on the Guadalupe, I was walking on the trail one time, and there was a BLM sign, and I went past it, and I said, well, let me go take another look at it. I walked back. There was already a mountain track on top of my track. And this happened within 2-3 minutes. So they're there.
Yeah.
They're there.
You know,
A mountain lion?
A mountain lion track.
you want to hear a good one on Aaron? I guess his wife had thrown him out of the house, right? He claimed he was camping at
Cebolla Mesa.
Cebolla Mesa over here in the Lama area. That he had put a tent. She was all worried that he was sleeping out there in the tent. He was sleeping at his house. But
Did you ever find out?
oh, I don't know if he ever did, but when we showed up, all his stuff was parked outside the door of his house. His cowboy boots, everything, all the luggage was outside because we had to move it for him. But we found out where he was camping.
I was living in Las Cruces, and I don't know if I was working for BLM or for White Sands, but anyway, he shows up at my house. He had his backpack, and he had a talache, a pick. I said, where are you going, Aaron? He goes, I'm going to Guatemala. So I told him, okay, tomorrow I'll take you into Juarez, and I'll take you to the bus and take off to do whatever you're going to do in Guatemala. So he was gone for about maybe 3 weeks, and I come home from work one day, and he was passed out on my steps. And Aron. And he wakes up, he goes, I bought you a bottle of tequila, but we weren't home, so I drank it. So that was Aron. So I think he stayed with me like 2-3 days, and I brought him as far as Albuquerque. Somebody got him home. Well, I have a lot of Aron stories.
Well, one of the times that he was working here, him and Matty, my brother is a guide, so he brought a couple of his people to the wild rivers, and when they saw Aron, they started this whole and Aron is flipping him off and all that, and Matty's chasing him in the truck, and those two guys with him are thinking this is for real, and Aron finally jumps over at one of the hedges or something, and then Matty stops and they start laughing, and those guys, Matty said they came close to peeing in their pants because that was Aron.
They didn't know what was going on.
Well, there was Aron and Peter Chacon. When I left from here to go to Albuquerque, they turned around and told me, go there on Gibson. There's a bar called the Bird of Paradise. They'll sell to you if you're not of age. Don't worry. So they're sitting in their car, and I get down, and I said, nice, I'm going to be able to get beer. I go in, the guy cards me. On my way out, I tripped under the molding for the door, right? I rolled, I hit the car where they were parked, and Peter turns around and tells me, "What, did they throw you out of there?" And I look at him, I said, "No, I tripped." He says, "Well, let that be a lesson to you." And Aron's laughing and pointing at me. "You weren't of age, huh?"
Yeah.
He was my guide one time hunting.
Oh.
We went all over Lama and ended up over there at top of the world. And Aron always had whiskey. He was a whiskey drinker. And Aron wasn't one to, and he would get a swig, and he had to swig it, and then he would. Anyway, we ended up over there at Steve Johnson's place. We were going, and the backhoe had 2 elk or 3 elk hanging. I told Aron, drive in there, let's see where they got an elk. And it was Steve Johnson, probably Clay. And they, "You guys hunting?" "Yeah." They said, "Well, go down the road here and turn on that gate. There's an elk already dead over there. You got it, the heart's in the cavity." So Aron and I did good. We loaded an elk and came back. The only thing we killed was a bottle of whiskey. But you know, Aron, in his last stages, I couldn't believe how crisp his mind was. He was very sharp. My wife and I were there when he passed away and everything, and it was sad, but it was good to, you know, a friend of ours came into the hospital, and Aron was already all hooked up and everything, and said, "Buddy," he tells him, "Buddy." Aron went wild. You know, he was all hooked up and everything. His mind was still good, but he was.
Yeah.
And then they brought his mom in, and she went in there, sat with him. No sooner had they wheeled him out, and Aron passed.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was his mom. He got to see his mom. He got to see him.
Mama.
But
How old was he?
he was my age, but I don't know how old he was when he passed away. 68, 69.
15 years
That
now?
was young too.
15 years already.
I think so.
Dang.
Well, they invited us to dinner, him and his wife. So my wife and I show up, and we're sitting there at the kitchen table, real nice, and all of a sudden a parrot flies right over the top of us. Shoom! They had a parrot. So Maggie, his wife, opens up the door to get something out of the fridge. The parrot flies back again, right? She's still with the fridge open, and I could see the parrot, and I could see feathers flying into the fridge. Wow. I told my wife, "I'm not hungry no more. I'm not hungry, man. Let's get out of here. We got to go check cows." I gave excuses, and my wife, "Well, we just got here." "No, Rach, we got to leave. We got to leave. I'm not eating a parrot."
If Aron was driving you around and you were talking, he'd be going like this, and
he'd look at you. Yeah.
And while we were working together and we were in the back roads, I told him, "Aron, watch out with that rock." Boom, it hit the rock. Every time. They bust out the side of the tire. That was Aron.
Yeah, when he was on the choir, That was him. Never touched the guitar, you know, never played it, but and never sang, but that was that one. But oh, this has been wonderful. Thank you guys. A round of applause for those two guys. Really good stories.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you. Almost 2 hours are gone already, and they went by fast.
We got to go watch World Cup now.
I want to remind you that August 15th, Kenny Lacombe and Daniel Lamb are going to be here. August 22nd, we'll be going to the Cerro Vista Farm to do that. And September, Bobby and Dwayne Ortega.
That's
Thank you guys.
Pat Lamb's boy?
Pat Lamb's boy, yeah.
So we need you guys that ain't from Cerro, if you guys have a visa, show it to us when you go into Cerro. Because
Cerro Nation.
we had a guy, his name was Henry Vigil. He was our mayor.
The mayor.
He was the mayor. But when he passed away, they turned around and they told me one day, do you want to take over? And I said, I guess, I can help. So they turned around and they said, well, how do you want to do it? I says, well, on Mondays, I'll be the mayor. Tuesdays, I'll open it up for council or whatever we've got to do. Wednesday, I can be law enforcement. Thursday, I'll be the judge. Friday, my doors are open to the constituents. But you guys are always welcome, but bring your visas.
You have listened to the stories. Vayan y digan a todos que vengan a escuchar las historias de nuestro país.